Another thing I said I wasn't going to do is I said that I wasn't going to do more than these 2 films that he had wrote, and this was not one of them, so I'm adding something. But, I just watched Halloween 1, and it's been a while since I've watched Halloween 1 and 2 back to back, since they take place on the same night. So, Halloween 2, let's do this. I love that open ending of Halloween 1, as I've said. Now, I'm a big fan of sequels. I love series. I mean, it's kind of what my channel's about. I explore series. I love that shit. So, I'm not opposed to sequels by any means, and I do really enjoy Halloween 2 and 4 and 3 and 4 and 5. Whatever. We'll get into those. But, I always like to think of Halloween 1 as its own thing. And these are just kind of spin-offs from there. Like Halloween 2 is a continuation, but I love the ending of 1. I love that he's just out there and we never know what happens. We get an answer in this film, and I'm okay with it, and this and that, but there's so many things about this film that bug me in general anyway, and the fact that I just love the ending of part 1, I don't know. They ignore a lot of things in the continuity later anyway, and Halloween, the new one with Jamie Lee Curtis coming up, is ignoring Halloween 2, this one altogether. Halloween H2O ignored 4 through 6, and so a lot of things are getting ignored here, so fuck it, I'll ignore this one when I watch the first one. But since I am watching this one, let's talk about it. Now, one of the things I really dislike is I really dislike that the opening was reshot in places. Number one being when Dick Warlock, the stuntman who plays Michael Myers in this, goes and reshoots him falling off the balcony. And it's clearly a ramp right up to the railing post. Like, I don't understand why there's a ramp up to the railing. Like, did they think we were going to think that he just magically floated up there? Why is there a ramp there? Why is it reshot at all? Just use the same fucking one. Maybe they didn't want to give credit to the other stuntman to give him money. I don't know why, but why was it reshot to look more theatrical or something? Or I don't get it. Like, it's stupid anyways. It bugs me every time I see it. Another thing that was reshot was that Loomis goes and discovers Michael's body is missing from the downstairs as opposed to the upstairs. Why that was reshot? Who knows? These are just little things that are irritating. It's like, if you're going to set it, they did the opening from the ending of the last film, and they used footage. You see Tommy and Lindsay, and you see that whole ending again, but then to change it, it's just weird. I don't know why they do shit like that. I don't know why they purposely seem to want to annoy me. That's why they did it. They were like, we're going to piss Jason off with these stupid little things. It worked. Good job, guys. This film, we have 7 shots coming from the gun. That's very infamous. Everybody knows about this. Why that was done? No clue. And later in the movie, his gun seems to have, 6 shots again. He shoots one out the window, and then he shoots 5 into Michael later, and then he runs out of bullets. So his gun does not hold 7 shots. No revolver, to my knowledge, does. There's 8 and there's 6. He has it fully loaded, and that's clearly a 6-shot gun. So I don't know why that was added. But whatever. And the best line in this film is in the beginning and is one of the greatest Dr. Loomis lines. You don't know what death is. Love it. And fan fucking tastic addition from Loomis. And Loomis's dialogue throughout the film is great. He's excellent once again. He's excellent in all of these movies. But it very much feels like the Loomis from part 1. His dialogue, the things that he says, really great stuff from him all around in this film. I really like the additions that Alan Howarth had brought to the soundtrack, and kind of a remix of the Halloween theme, adding a little bit more orchestral fills and whatnot. Really good stuff there too. So I like that they tweaked the soundtrack, moved it around, just didn't, copy and paste the last one, and added some new stuff that's really, really intense music. Great score in this one as well. And the new pumpkin opening, I wish they would have stuck to the pumpkin openings in the Halloween entries, with 4 and 5. Like 5 has that stupid cut up the fucking 5. We'll get into that one later. But I like that the thing splits and there's the skull and like the webbing. That's a really cool shot, really cool idea. Just a really fun addition here as well. And something that, I was talking about in my last review or discussion of the first one was that Michael clearly his eyes are set on Laurie. Like, Laurie's his endgame. There's no doubt about that. And everyone he kills is either associated with Laurie in some way, friends, whatever, or is somebody he needs to get his outfit from or whatever. This one, he just randomly kills Alice in the opening. Like, he goes and he grabs a knife from this girl and he goes to her house and he just butchers her for no reason. And obviously, I think for just an outside the film reason, they just wanted to up the body count. But in universe reason, I have no clue. Like, why he would kill that girl makes no sense to me. He's out looking for Laurie. He's got no time to deal with this chick. Like, why he bothers with her at all. I get why the people at the hospital die. They're in his way. He kills the cop. He kills the security guard. He kills all the nurses, everyone who has interactions with her, anyone who's going to stop her from his end game here. That I get. But Alice's death, to me, just doesn't make any sense. It's completely pointless, and I just don't get it. And it's kind of annoying to me. I like that Nancy Loomis comes back to play a dead body just for 2 seconds. That's one of the things I always praise the Saw films for, is their continuity, and actors would come back to play dead bodies or like 2-second bit parts just so it has really good flow to the series when you watch it as a whole. And I like that she just comes back to play a dead body, and we actually get to see that her throat was slashed by Michael in the car. I mean, it's clear that he does it, but it's cool to actually see the wound in this one, because this one has the gore. They add all the gore in this one. And this little kid with the razor blade in his mouth, I don't know if that's actually ever been reported. I know that was a kind of like an urban legend type thing. Maybe that happened, but seriously, someone put a razor blade in an apple? That's what they're suggesting anyway. I don't think it's ever actually said in film. I didn't notice it anywhere the million times I've watched it. But that's what they're suggesting. And like, you want to talk about the real villain in this movie? Michael, you are a son of a bitch, no doubt about it. But a person putting a fucking razor blade either in an apple or candy or whatever for children to eat? My God. Talk about a fucking maniac. And I love that Mixter, Dr. Mixter just comes out and practices medicine completely hammered. Like, yeah, that just wouldn't fly ever. And we get to see a real needle going in the arm and taking her blood and putting the drug in. That was interesting. You don't really ever see that, but that is clearly, like, they had somebody actually get a needle, take blood from them up close. That is definitely real. And we get to see the possible demise of Bennett Tramer, Laurie's crush. So not only does she have all of her friends get killed, but her crush gets killed, and then the new guy that she's hanging out with slips and hits his head, has a concussion. In the TV version, he does live. In the not TV version, we don't know. Maybe he died. Maybe he fell asleep and fell into a coma and died because he had a concussion. I don't know. But I guess I'll go off of the TV ending and say that he did live. But we get to see that Tramer happen. I mean, the guy that she's into happens to have almost the exact same costume as Michael Myers on. That's a coincidence and a half. He's wearing a silver. You can see that very clearly in the Blu-ray. Like, I haven't watched this Blu-ray much, But I really noticed like his mask is like silver as silver gets, which you just can't really tell in the DVD. So that's kind of a cool addition. And the cop saying he came out of nowhere. The kid in the middle of the street. You're a fucking cop. You didn't see that guy? He came out of nowhere. Yeah, all right. Dana Carvey making his appearance here. Another thing everyone knows, but it's just like, Dana Carvey, you know. And I really noticed him, which I barely ever noticed him at the very end of the film, but he's in the film again. Why he's not with that reporter chick again, he's with the other newscaster guy. I have no idea. Maybe he was just on an assignment there from her. She couldn't make it, whatever, but there he was again. When Lee goes to close Annie's eyes, she is clearly twitching, like bad. I was like, wow, I can't believe they didn't reshoot that, or like have him not touch her face, or, you know, because when you push people's eyes down when they're dead, that they don't close. Okay, that's not a real thing. Not that it matters, but she clearly twitches. And as I kind of said in my last thing, like, Lee blaming Loomis, I get it. He's frustrated. He's mad. He's fucking beside himself. His daughter's dead. I'd be a train wreck. My mind wouldn't be straight. I'd want to kill everyone around. So, but this is a lot of Lee's fault himself. As I said, he should have went and he should have rounded his daughter up as soon as he found this out. And the fact that Lori, like, that Loomis says that he finds, you know, Myers, and he must have found him a close to the vicinity of where he knew his daughter was babysitting. So when Loomis was like, I found him, I shot him 6 times, whatever, he would have told him, like, there was a girl, she was babysitting, you know, her name was Lori, whatever. He'd be like, Lori Strode, oh my God, that's my daughter. Like, how the fuck did Lee Brackett not know that that was Lori Strode and that his daughter was across the street? And, like, that's just silly to me. It really is. There's no way. I'm sorry. There's no fucking way. But it's a movie, so like usual, I will say whatever and move on. When Michael finds out that Lori's in the hospital and he bumps into the kid with the boombox on his shoulder and he walks, this is something I will bring up. It's silly. No one will care. But it's something I can't help but mention. When he walks around the street corner at the very end, you see the Haddonfield Memorial Hospital sign and he walks off screen. There's this idiot with 2 girls walking behind him. Maybe he's just really excited to be with 2 chicks, thinks he's going to get laid by both of them later that night. I don't know. He starts hopping around like a moron, and I can never not notice him. Does anyone else ever see this guy? Like, background characters to me become as iconic as anything. And anytime I watch this movie, I can't help but look at this hopping, bumbling looking idiot. Why that's important, why I've always noticed, who knows? But it is something I've always paid attention to, and I can't help but mention it here since this is my channel. And this is my review. Bud just doesn't give a shit at all. Bud's character couldn't give a fuck. It makes me laugh every time I watch it. He is just so whatever about this situation. The fact that he lives in Haddonfield, where nothing ever happens, and a bunch of kids get murdered in town, and he's so, I don't care, I just want to get laid, and I want to piss other nurses off, and sing songs, and joke around. Man, he's quite the character. And, you know, he's got good taste, though, because Karen, let me tell you what, man. When I was a kid, Karen was like the pinnacle of breastage in my life. Oh my God. I remember it was one of the first times I saw tits on screen and whatever. And I've always, like, I'm a weird kid. I never went through the cooties phase. I never had any, you know, aversion to women. I always thought they were adorable. I had crushes in kindergarten, whatever. And when I saw Karen's boobs for the first time, they were just like, they set the bar, man. They will always be iconic breasts to me. And rewatching it now and all the time, they've always held up. They're beautiful. They are wonderful. Yes, I just dedicated like 30 seconds of this review to a woman's breast. Turn it off if you think I'm some sexist pig or, you know, I've gotten a couple comments over the time I've had this channel that I'm a misogynist or whatever, but whatever. They're beautiful breasts, okay? Come on now. We watch horror movies for gore and tits, and this is a great pair. Poor Laurie Strode, man. Holy shit, this girl is having the worst fucking day ever. I mean, you gotta think this all takes place in one night. Like, it'd been 3 years for people, but in her world, this was like an hour later, 2 hours later. She's still grieving from finding Annie and Linda and Bob's bodies, like, then being chased by this fucking maniac and trying to kill him so many times, and then him getting away. Like, this girl would be broken, and she is, and I totally understand. Poor Laurie, man, the shit she goes through. But she lives, so technically poor everyone else even more. They lost their fucking lives. I'd rather lose my mind than my life. So, but I always have to say, with this movie and a lot of others, but especially this one, I don't know for sure, but Laurie is his end game, right? So it's the end of the game. If Laurie would have just died in, the Doyle house or the Wallace house, either one, that would have been it. Like, maybe Michael will just, like, fall into the ground and went into, a catatonic state again. I don't know. But he wouldn't have came to that hospital. Alice wouldn't have been killed. Like, if he killed her, they would have all lived. It's a grim thing to think about, but it's true. Laurie, you should have done everyone a favor and you just fucking died, okay? You get everyone killed in H2O. You get people killed in the hospital in Resurrection. You need to die. No, I'm just kidding. Not her fault. Oh, God. Another cat. If you follow my channel enough, you understand how much I hate the cat shit. And this is the cat I always mention. Like, why is he in the fucking trash can like that? Why is there blood in there? And it's so stupid. I hate cats being thrown at the fucking screen. Just frustrate the shit out of me. Loomis doesn't know Michael Myers' dental records. Like, when the doctor's looking through what we are led to believe is Ben Tramer's body, when he's looking through his teeth and he's like, no cavities, maybe he's young, 7, and Loomis is like, Michael Myers is 21. And it's like, shouldn't his response be like, well, Michael Myers doesn't have any fillings? Like, he's like, well, he's 21, so it's like, you don't know if Michael has had dentistry done to him. Like, you don't know his dental records. You know everything about this guy. Like, later in the movie, when Marian shows up, she's like, I found his file, and he's like, I've seen everything. I know every single thing about Myers. And it's like, you didn't seem to know much about his dental records like 20 minutes ago, an hour ago. I've always thought that was odd. The whole school break-in thing, too, is weird to me. Like, I don't understand that. Another thing that's just kind of thrown in, I think it's just trying to foreshadow the whole sister thing, which as I've said, I think is so dumb. I do think it was a, kind of a competition with like an Empire Strikes Back moment. Like, we're going to have a big lineage reveal and everyone's going to be like, oh my God, it all makes sense now. But it's like, Laurie was 2 years old when he was committed. I don't know what that means. I don't know if that means that she was born, whatever. I don't know. But the fact that he's coming back after his sister, after all these years, well, she's 17 and he's 21, 1. Yeah, so he'd be 2 when he was, yeah. So where was she that night? Like, she was babysitting. Was she in the house? We're unaware of that. Like, he didn't know she had a sister? Or he didn't know she had a sister? Bullshit. Okay? There's no fucking way. No fucking way. But, whatever. Moving on, as usual. Just ignoring the stupidity of that. But I just don't get it. I don't get the school break-in. Like, what's the point? He goes in there and he writes Sam Hain on the wall, which foreshadows what happens in Halloween 5 and 6, I guess. Like, the druids and all that stuff. That's basically what spawned that. And as I said, that little excerpt from the Halloween novelization. I just don't get it. I don't get the point of it. As I said, it's just to foreshadow the whole sister thing that eventually comes up. But why the Sam Hain thing? Why did they have to go to the Druids and all that? I guess they were trying to give some kind of... I don't know. As I said, there's a lot of parts of this movie that just seem thrown in just to fill up time and to try to pull off this big reveal, and it just doesn't work for me. That janitor in that school seems to get away. You know, he's sitting there buffing the floors in the background, and Michael Myers couldn't have been there but half an hour ago, so he left him alone. That was totally pointless to mention, but I saw him in the background buffing the floors when he's talking to Marian, and I'm like, where was this guy? And why didn't Michael kill him, since he seems to be randomly killing everyone for no reason? Marian Returns from the first movie. I thought that was a cool just little nod to the first. Like, she isn't a big character or any kind of substantial thing, but they throw her in. Everyone looks a little older here. I mean, it's been 3 years, and it just seems noticeable. And the whole, like, Laurie is catatonic thing for a moment when Jimmy comes to check on her, and then they come back and they shine the lights in her eyes and she's not reacting and all that. I guess she did that. Did she do that I'm guessing she did that on purpose so that she could sneak out, but why didn't she just sneak out when no one was looking? She just thought everyone would run away. Like, the plan there is what? Yet again, just another thing. It's like, huh? What? There's so many moments in this movie that are just like, okay, I guess. There are plenty of good moments throughout the film in order for me to enjoy it. But those parts just, they annoy me. And, you know, there are a lot of characters in this movie that have graphic deaths and whatnot. They just up the gore throughout. You know, you got the one chick getting the air bubble to the brain. Mixter's got the thing to the eye. You got Jill, who, you know, is probably arguably the most beautiful girl in the movie. She gets the scalpel to the back, and Michael has been lifting a ton of weights. He can pick that chick up, holding onto a scalpel up in the air with one arm. Jesus, man. That is strength and a half. And Mrs. Alves, she gets like an IV line put in her arm and taped off. Like, Michael put an IV line in her arm and taped it off and then left her there. What do you do? Hold her down until she bled out enough that she passed out? Like, this is what I'm saying. There's so many logical things throughout this film, or so many things that just defy logic, should I say, in this film. Like, you just think about them for like 2 seconds and you're like, does that work? That doesn't really work, does it? When you start to, should I overanalyze these things? No. But yes. When you watch it enough, you're just like, why would he do that? Like, why? That doesn't make any sense. It's not, Michael would not put an IV line in somebody and just let them bleed out. That's just silly. And, you know, Loomis is not fucking around at the end of this movie. When he finds out he's his sister, he, like, takes a guy hostage, fires a warning shot, tells that chick to shut the fuck up. Like, he doesn't say shut the fuck up, but he's like, shut up, come with me. Like, he's on a mission at the end of this movie. He doesn't care. He has had it. He has taken Michael down, and he does not care who the hell, what happens to him, if he goes to jail, if he fucking kills people to do it. Like, he is a madman at this point. And, you know, like, the whole Laurie not being able to scream thing, I get it. She's terrified. She can't get it out. And that's actually a pretty good performance from her. Like, the moments it is, but it's just like, really, you can't scream in that moment? And then when they close the door, like, she screams and they can't hear her. The soundproof fucking doors and glass. Like, maybe I'm harder on this movie than I am the other one. Maybe I could have given a whole bunch of bullshit reasons, and I probably could have. But God, there's so many glaring ones It feels like they had 3 years to write this. And maybe Carpenter, because he hates sequels, is just like, whatever, I don't give a shit. But Deborah Hill should have been like, I care. But I don't know. I really like the red mask, like when she looks out in the distance and the mask, is gleaming down on the mask. That's just a great shot. One of my favorites, if not my favorite, in the entire film. And the look that Loomis gives when Myers gets up from taking 5 more bullets into him, bringing the grand total to 11. 12 if you count the 7th bullet from the first, but he keeps saying, I shot him 6 times. He can't count or whatever. But the look he gives is just so like, okay, this dude can't die. Like, I guess it's just kind of that look of like, I'm going to have to kill myself. Like, I got to do something. That's it. I'm taking this fucking guy out. I don't even care if I have to die to do it. And he does. He sacrifices himself. If you count part 4, obviously they both live, which is bullshit. And like, he doesn't think that he's out of bullets. Maybe, I guess he forgot that he fired that one, but he gave Lori the second fully loaded gun and keeps the gun that has no ammo in it. And then Lori, who's the greatest shot ever, shoots him perfectly through the eye holes of the mask. You can clearly see the guy's just keeping his eyes closed, and his eyes are, his, at least like the skin around his eyes is still there. Maybe she shot his eyes out, but the blood's clearly coming from above his eyebrows. He took 2 shots to the fucking head through the eyes. He's not dead. And all is happening is a little blood's coming out. Like, that's bad writing. Okay, that's just a bad scene. Is it a cool looking shot, like the blood down the mask? Is it an iconic shot? Sure. Is it a cool scene as far as just like visually and whatnot? He's swiping the thing like he's in a fucking Zorro movie or something, and it's making that whooshing sound that it wouldn't make. Yeah, sure. It's a cool scene, but it's so illogical. It's just, they completely took reason out of that scene. It was just like, well, fuck it. He'll cry blood. It'll look cool. It's like, and I guess at this point they're just saying he can't die. Like, but he does. They catch him on fire and he burns to the ground and he's dead. But I don't know. It's just so dumb. Like, I love that Michael's just a regular guy. That's what I want him to be always. That's probably why I don't want a sequel, because he's going to get shot more and he's going to get, stabbed more, and it's going to be like, Jesus, okay, come on, now he's just getting out of control. But yeah, that is just dumb. We do get to see the lighter given to Loomis earlier in the movie, foreshadowing his eventual demise by Loomis, which I think is a cool little touch. He makes such a gesture of it. He like flicks it in front of him a couple times, like reminding the audience, like, Loomis has this, and he will be using it at some point. And as I said, Loomis just sacrifices himself. He just thinks he's the only one who understands him, and he's the only one who can stop him, and he clearly is right, and he gives his life up. Like, it makes me wonder if he's feeling guilt. I'm sure he is when Brackett comes at him, and he's like, what have you done? You let him out. Like, I think that just weighed on him. And it also, the fact that no one seems to be taking this as seriously as him. He has to constantly keep pushing everyone, and no one listens to him. That freaking guy who comes to take him back gets killed because he won't listen to him. No one seems to listen to him, so he's just like takes it upon himself. And it's awesome for him. And, the fact that he's still walking while on fire, and it just gets so absurd. But anyway, all right, Halloween 2. I talked about this one longer than I thought. I definitely thought this one was going to be much shorter, but damn. And this is me really condensing it. Jesus Christ, I could talk about this shit all damn day, clearly. So Halloween 1 and 2. Been wanting to talk about these for a long time. They are talked about. I am done with them. Man, that was a lot of fun. All right. On to the next Carpenter film.